Here is a moment in time in the history of the AFL. Absolutely awesome.
You're watching the Outer Sanctum.
So what do we think about Gary Gold Coast being Gary Geelong coming back, like breaking his contract and coming back? Originally I was feeling like you can't do that, you've signed a pledge, but something about it that's a bit fun. Bring the fun back to football, I say. I think it'll be fun for everyone.
Well, for me the question is, I think there needs to be some fanfare associated with breaking the contract. Like I think in the same way there is when you sign a contract.
They should have a party.
A party, or I think actually a contest to see whether or not he should be able to break the contract, like the footy ops.
Big scissors?
Oh, that's awesome. Novelty scissors.
Oversized novelty contract.
Do you think though, because there's that question around whether he should be able to, maybe they could do like a phone poll?
Yes.
Oh.
Like at the end of like some of those
Plebiscite?
reality
I was
TV.
Say a postal vote.
Postal plebiscite.
I'm thinking more like with reality TV shows where you get to
You text in.
have a vote about whether it should happen or not.
But nobody's going to vote to say he should leave their club, are they?
That's the joke.
They may.
I got it. Philosophically though, do you have any problems with breaking contracts?
Legally?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. I feel like a club would do that to a player.
Yeah, saying that
so
all
a
the
player
time.
would definitely do that to a club.
As long as they pay them out.
Yeah.
That's how it
I
works.
think there's contracts and there's contracts though. There's like,
So
there's like a real estate contract and then there's like a Weight Watchers contract.
I always had to sign a contract when I was getting a spray tan
There you go.
Did you?
about looking after my tan. And I went like, drew a cock and balls on it.
So did you all see that the All-Australian team was announced this week? And there were a few surprises in it. The big shock apparently was that Alex Rance was named captain. But I saw him say that he knew in advance that he was going to be named captain when he got his blazer and he saw a C on it. And the interesting thing was, I thought if that had been me, I would have assumed that the C stood for something else. Such confidence.
C for confidence. I still don't get the All-Australian team. I don't get the idea of picking a team that's never going to play.
It does
Like it
seem-
just seems so made up.
Yeah.
Pointless.
I'm all right with it. I just think they should take it further and they should have an all-Australian crowd as well. So, I really like the ground should be girt by supporters. You should really go with the whole theming. But you should have to prove you're Aussie to be there.
Would you be in a corporate box?
It's not very Australian, is it? There'd definitely be like lots of pies and beers and...
It's so awkward. They just look like naughty schoolboys
they do.
going to the principal's office.
Those blazers.
It is actually just for the jacket.
Yeah.
Which I know that jackets have a long history in sport, like the Masters, the gold jacket, the green jacket, that jacket that Jeff Kennett used to wear, that Joffa jacket, But I don't think they need these blazers anymore. They look more like a cricket team, right?
You're going to wear it to a wedding or?
And they've got the ribbon around it, like the prefix. Like that's what they look like, Year 12 boys, and they all look really awkward in them too. So it actually looks like adolescent boys.
Is it for the fantasy?
I don't
The
know.
fantasy of a blazer. Yeah, not my fantasy.
Someone's schoolboy fantasy.
It seems like the AFL's endorsing the public school, private school split,
does.
though, aren't they? Like, you guys are private school?
Yep.
And the rest of you are just public
Plebs.
school students. Plebs. Mere plebs.
I wish that when they gave Dusty his jacket that he'd made it look like a bit AC/DC. Like
Rip the arms off.
Then rip the arms off.
Make
put
it
on the little
short.
shorts.
Oh, nice.
Teeny tiny tie. That would have been so cool. Hello.
Have you heard the news?
What?
Sam Mitchell's retiring.
Hello? Hello? Are you okay?
Okay, so Joe Watson to Sydney,
That's Nick Rewalt.
Bucks to the Gold Coast.
That's Dusty.
Ablett back to the Cats.
That's Goldsack. That's Moneybags.
Well, so who's this?
Batman.
Oh, Kate, the mug again?
What's my favourite?
He's gone. He's not coming back.
I know. Well, what am I going to do with all of this merchandise?
Kate, you're going to have to work something out.
I don't know what to do. Is there a ceremony? So now that the finals are here, there's a lot of talk about whether any of the teams in the final 8 are cursed. And I must say I love a good sporting curse. So many of the best sporting curses around the world have great names, really mysterious and intriguing names. So there's like the curse of the Bambino, the curse of the Billy Goat, the curse of Coogan's Bluff. And then we have the Jeff Kennett curse. Like, how crap is that?
Oh, but if you call it the Kennett curse, it's got a bit of alliteration. You know,
that's
that gives
true.
it some poetry, a little bit of, you know.
Yeah, they need to be poetic.
They
all
kind
about
of
name.
sound like episodes of Scooby-Doo. It's like there's going to be a big reveal. My favourite, I think, is the curse of the Colonel,
Oh, yeah.
which was the Hanshin Tigers, a Japanese football team, who won in 1985, and their over-exuberant fans took a statue outside a fast food
Oh, we
place
shouldn't do that.
and picked it up and threw it in the river. And then they didn't win for the next, they had a losing streak for the next 18 years.
that's
and they felt
hilarious.
that the colonel who instigated that particular fast food joint had cursed them. So it was called the curse of the colonel.
How do you overcome that curse then? You have to like eat
11
bucket loads
different-
of chicken or something?
Send Ronald McDonald in after him.
Well, no, actually they said they had to go in and try and find it. They thought they'd need to recover the statue out of the river to reverse it.
Did you guys see this? That the AFL put out this finals is coming, weird like Game of Thrones cross promotion with the White Walkers and stuff. It didn't work, but it reminded me they did one of Star Wars. Do you remember they had like some stormtroopers and stuff? And it feels like it's being programmed by an 8-year-old boy. Like, maybe they're going to do the football Lego movie or something like that.
cool.
You know how they have
that.
yeah, I probably would watch that actually. It just seems kind of like it's just taking it to a place that I don't
far.
really feel is very football.
I'm fascinated by the finals advertising, the finals marketing, because every year the AFL does release like a different slogan, so that finals is coming. I remember, I think in 2012, the slogan was "This is greatness."
Yeah.
Did
As
that
if just
trouble
a-
you?
Well, first of all, I think I'll decide whether or not this is greatness, you know. But then in 2015, I remember the slogan was "All for the finals," which of course is incorrect because
Obviously
they're
not.
not all for the finals.
By definition.
By
they're not.
definition, it should be half for the finals. You know what I mean? Who's writing these?
As someone who cares a lot about grammar, I had a really hard time with "This is greatness"
Yeah.
because it's really missing the noun.
But also,
It's turned
What?
it into a noun.
Like if you wrote that on an essay, someone would put a big red line around it and say, "What is greatness? What are you talking about?"
around finals time, do you quite like doing your own Craig Willis? The Australian Football League welcome you to the 2017 AFL Grand Final.
He loves to roll at R too. I remember in,
rolls
in
it back in.
2008, Campbell.
I find in September I tend to call the kids to dinner in the same way. Children, dinner is served.
As long as sex isn't football, I'm all okay with that. If you're in bed and you start pulling that stuff out.
Oh, gosh.
Hey.
I've never pulled out. This is greatness.
Do you feel like we're on the set of Underbelly? Did they film?
This is pretty cool.
Did they film part of that here?
Did.
Oh. So we're sitting in the stands at Princess Park, or as we call it, Princess Park. It feels like it could really be the hub of women's football going ahead. That seems to be the plan from
That's the dream.
the dream.
Yeah.
Before we talk, can we discuss what's going on your cheeks today?
This morning, my daughter was very excited. She wanted to do face painting, so she did it. She did one cheek. I looked in the mirror. It looked fantastic. I was really proud. She did the other. Then we took a selfie, and I realised that my C's were backwards on my
Right.
face because in the mirror they looked perfect.
So Kate, how does football add value to your life?
The idea that football is open for everyone, but particularly for women as well as men, that's a huge development. And almost everyone I talk to about that is excited about that.
Yeah.
There's no resistance to it. There's this idea of, you know, we're a better community and it's a better code for that. So it's really just fun for first and foremost, and it's great that there's so many people that are excited about it.
Who are the two players you'd most like to just sit down and have dinner with?
I think without doubt, Darcy Vescio wins on all fronts.
Yep.
She is so funny and so clever and so talented. But when I say that, I feel disloyal to all the other women players who are all fantastic and the new ones. The men, look, it depends on whether I'm looking at new players, old players, the, you know, kind of reliable leadership. So, I love them all. Dennis Armfield would be a fantastic dinner companion as well. Dennis with Darcy would be hilarious.
In your role as the Federal Sex Discrimination Commissioner, have you seen ripple effects from the AFLW and an impact on women's sport coming from that?
Yeah, huge. So in that federal role, we know that there's so many developments for women and there's so much that's moving towards equality, but we also know that women are still behind on a whole lot of measures, particularly relating to violence and women in the workplace in particular. And what we know now over time, we've got the laws, we've got all the rules in place, but actually it's sort of general cultural attitudinal change. One of the places that gets most of our community involved is footy. So sport generally has people engaged both playing, watching at grassroots, at elite level, so on television. There's so many ways that we interact. So watching women's growth in a whole lot of sports, not just football, has made a big difference to women's position and the perception about what women can do. So it just sort of reminds everyone that sport isn't just about men's sport. It is about all of us. Sport is an amazing and a really positive way that we can get the change that I think most of our community wants.
The big question that we all have about Carlton, and probably one of the larger questions in football, is in the Carlton song, when they say they're going to keep their ends up, what do they mean?
Whatever it means, it's got to be good.
Kate, thank you so much for joining us today and letting us come to your house and play football on your oval here.
Thank you
so
much. It's been great to have all these women and men and kids kicking on the ground.